Hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln, and welcome to Oklahoma Sportscene. The Associated Press Top 25 College Football Poll released on Sunday, and the Oklahoma Sooners have made a big jump, going all the way up to number 13 from 18, the big win over Michigan. Take a look now at the poll just released, with Ohio State number 1 with 57 first-place votes, the outright leader, followed by Penn State, LSU, and Oregon. Those are the only teams that had first-place votes. Then it's Miami, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Illinois, and Florida State round out the top 10. Then it's South Carolina 11, Clemson 12, Oklahoma 13, Iowa State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, South Florida, Alabama, Utah, the top 20. Then rounding out the 25, it's Texas Tech, Indiana, Michigan, Auburn, and Missouri at 25. And by the way, that's 9 of Oklahoma's opponents on their schedule are in the top 25 this week. Now, before we recap this past Saturday of area college football, let's take a look at the schedule this weekend. Oklahoma kicks it off at 11 in the morning in Philadelphia against the Temple Owls. That's on ESPN. Then 2 games at 6 o'clock in the evening. Navy at Tulsa, the start of American Conference play for the Golden Hurricane on ESPN+. And then Arkansas at Ole Miss, 6 p.m. on ESPN, starting Southeast Conference play for the Razorbacks. You know, Oklahoma State mercifully has an open date. They'll play next Friday, hosting Tulsa at OSU. That's on ESPN. By the way, that kickoff has been moved forward now from 6 o'clock to 6:30 next Friday in Stillwater. Here's a look at our guest list now for this week on Oklahoma Sportscene. Tulsa World Sports columnist Barry Tramel joins us for his review of the second week of the college football season and his grades for our Big Four area teams. Welcome KJRH Channel 2 Sports Director Cayden McFarland to talk sports with us. Michael Knight has a review of week 2 of high school football season across Oklahoma. Look at some big games coming up this weekend. And Norm Hitzges, longtime Dallas Radio Hall of Famer, gives a closer look at the Dallas Cowboys, the team he's covered for almost 50 years down there. But first, here are hot topics for the week. In United Soccer League play this past Saturday, September 6, FC Tulsa hosted Birmingham Legion FC in its only home match for the entire month of September. They battled a 1-1 draw. FC Tulsa scored its only goal in the first half, stoppage time before Taylor Calahera converted the penalty kick. Then the opponents were able to equal things late in the contest. The club now goes on to a 3-match road trip starting Saturday at New Mexico United. In AA baseball, Tulsa, after Sunday's 12-11 ninth-inning walk-off loss in Wichita, still held on to a 2-game lead with 6 to play to make the Texas League playoffs. Its final 6-game homestand of the regular season runs through September 9th through the 14th against Arkansas. Features some big promotions, giant fireworks displays, all coming up. And be sure to go to the Drillers website, check out all the activity coming up. So after leading Tulsa's indoor professional football league team, the Oilers, to its best record, 10-6, and its first ever postseason appearance, the team is awarded head coach Marvin Jones with a new contract extending through 2027. ESPN's Game Day was at Saturday's OU Michigan game, and one of the show's features, he gives a student a chance to kick a 30-yard field goal for cash in the Pat McAfee kicking contest. This was an attempt for $200,000, another $100,000 going to charity. So here it is on ESPN Game Day. Freshman accounting major Jack Dugard getting his one shot at $200,000.
Jack. Go on, Jack. So much fun. All right, let's go get it.
He's got to be the new big man on campus. OU freshman Jack Dugard kicking the $200,000 30-yard field goal. Boomer. Oklahoma State head football coach Mike Gundy's famous "I'm a rant, I'm 40." 17 years ago this month, I was there in the OSU post-media room when Coach Gundy came in after beating Texas Tech in a big win, 49-45. Never said a word about that game. Said he had something else on his mind that he wanted to get off his chest.
If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play as well on Saturday, and you let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage, and the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right. And then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones that do make plays. Are you kidding me? Where are we at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
And now in 2025, Coach Gundy turned that famous rant into a TV commercial for Consumer Cellular.
Yeah, Coach, any changes coming this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna make some cuts. Look, Big Wireless wants to come after me. I'm a man. I'm not 40. I'm 58. Why would I overpay when I can get Consumer Cellular's unlimited plan, 2 lines, $30 each? Fast, reliable coverage, 2 lines, $30 each. That's all I gotta say. Big Wireless makes me want to puke.
The Gundy rant lives on. Tulsa Rural sports columnist Barry Tramel wraps up this past week in college football, emphasis on Oklahoma and Michigan. That's straight ahead.
The Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town, is the only place you can skate like the pros. With 2 rinks, there's always time to strap on the blades and hit the ice. The Wee Street Ice Center at 43rd and Yale is your family fun destination. Try out the game simulator rooms or hit the arcade. When you get hungry, grab a bite at Puck's Sports Bar and Grill with delicious food, great drink specials, and more. It's Midtown Tulsa's coolest entertainment center. Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town. Come get your skate on.
Thoroughbred season at Remington Park is underway with great winning action Thursday through Saturday at 6 p.m. Make plans now for Oklahoma Derby Day, Sunday, September 28th. The lone Sunday afternoon of the season begins at 3 p.m. with the richest race of the season, the Grade 3 $400,000 Oklahoma Derby, as the headliner. Visit RemingtonPark.com for all post times, group rates, and dining reservations. The best racing, simulcast racing, and nonstop jackpot casino action is at Remington Park.
Pitch, Casey lines it down the left field line. Drillers win!
Baseball, fireworks, food, and family, it's all in Tulsa at One Oak Field. Score your Drillers season membership today with plans and prices fit for every fan. Whether you want to catch every game or select nights, we know you will have a great time at the ballpark. We're proud to offer a variety of membership options, so don't wait. Contact a Drillers rep who will personally help you find the right plan for you. It's all in Drillville for 2025.
Well, on Oklahoma Sports Scene, we have Barry Tramel, the executive sports columnist at Tulsa Rural, joining us on our football recaps of the week. And Barry, let's start with the Sooners. They had one impressive victory over Michigan. Really got back some great memories for me. I was at that Orange Bowl, believe it or not, in 1976 when they claimed the national championship. Quite a run.
Yeah, crazy that 2 schools like this with so much tradition, so much history could go 50 years without playing. And I thought it was a great spectacle to see those, to see those Michigan uniforms on Owen Field was really cool. I wish they'd have brought the band. Next time, Michigan, bring your band. I want to hear "Hail to the Victors" ringing through the Oklahoma night. But, yeah, I thought it was a really good spectacle and a really good football game. I mean, Oklahoma, very similar teams, strong defenses. Oklahoma had the better quarterback, Bryce Underwood. Might be a future star, but just second game of his career, while John Mateer is a proven commodity. And, John Mateer, I thought, was the difference in the game. And the Sooners have sort of got back to the business of winning football, it looks like.
Yeah, John Mateer in the game, 21 of 34 passing, 270 yards, 62% completion, had the 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Also ran 19 times for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. Quite a performance, and again, impressive for Ben Arbuckle and impressive for that rebuilt offensive line.
Yeah, they played much better on the line. Still not blowing out a bunch of holes. The tailbacks still average 3 yards a carry, and that's going to be tough. They've relied a lot on John Mateer's running, which that'll work until you get your quarterback hurt. So you got to temper that. Maybe save it for select games. Michigan was a good game to use it. But that'd be my only concern about that running game is you don't want to depend too much on Mateer, but he certainly was valuable Saturday night. A lot of keepers, design keepers, empty backfield, snap it to him, let him run like we're out on the sand lot. And he really came through, quarterback draws, all kinds of things. So, yeah, he was as Brent Venables said, when you got a quarterback that can run and throw, that's what you want. That's the ideal, and that's what Oklahoma has.
As you mentioned, the rushing averaged just 3.4 yards per snap, and Cayden Knott, again, when are we going to see him really perform?
That's a good question. I don't know. He sort of had the little bit of an opportunity last night on Saturday night, and he didn't really show much. Had a muff on a kickoff return. Meanwhile, Javante Barnes, who everybody's wanting to put in mothballs, he comes out, has a nice game. Had OU's best tailback run of the night. Had a nice 16-yard catch off a screen pass. Really came through, and he's OU's best pass blocker too from the tailback position. That's one reason they like to play him. If you need an extra blocker, that's your man. So a lot of reasons to like Javante Barnes. Everybody's loving the new freshman Torrey Blaylock. So yeah, Cayden Knott was supposed to be a star. Preseason second team All SEC. It looks like he's not even second team OU right now. So it's a mystery.
Sooners outgained the Wolverines 408 to 288. And of course, rushing, they had 270 yards, but one was a 75-yard run to start that second half. But boy, the defense really stepped up. A great job of the defensive team.
Yeah, Michigan hit Oklahoma with 3 big plays, 2 pass plays, and that 75-yard touchdown run. You don't like to give up big plays, but otherwise the Wolverines didn't do much at all. First downs were really rough for Michigan. They didn't get much. If it wasn't a big play, they didn't get much. Put them behind the sticks a lot. Here's a stat for you, Chris. Bryce Underwood, who's going to be a really good player and maybe a star, but he threw 24 passes and ran 3 times. So that's 27 plays for Bryce Underwood. Michigan made yardage on only 8 of those 27 plays. You can't win football games when you have 19 negative plays or 0 yards, and Oklahoma really did a good job keeping Bryce Underwood at bay. So, the big play, particularly the 75-yard run to open the third quarter, that got Michigan back in the game. It was 14-0. You thought, get a stop, kick a field goal, this game's over. Instead, 10 seconds into the quarter, it's 14-7, and we played a good game the rest of the way, and either team could have pulled it out. So that's disappointing, but Michigan's good. That's what they do. And in the same way that some teams will line up and throw the ball over and whip you around, Michigan hammer, and at some point you take a wrong step, get blocked the wrong way, somebody's going to the house.
Barry, how important was that victory for OU and certainly for Coach Venables?
Well, I think all these games are big. I actually, the next one's big too. Auburn, not Temple, but Auburn in 2 weeks is big. But this was a big game because this was the first real test for John Mateer, the first real test for Ben Arbuckle, the first real test for Brent's new offense. And it passed, with maybe not flying colors, but it performed very well. And it gave you the acknowledgement, hey, they fixed the problem. Maybe it's not going to be the Kyler Murray offense of 2018. It's not going to be the 71 wishbone. Yeah. But after a season in which Oklahoma had an historically bad offense, the worst offense in the SEC, that's gone. That's in the past. The Sooners have a very good quarterback, a very good offense. And when you put that with a Brent Venables defense, you can win some games. So people were optimistic. People were hopeful. Now that hope has turned into reality, and everybody can sort of rest easy and enjoy the season knowing that these Sooners will be competitive, if not even much more.
Well, Barry, in stark contrast, Oregon 69, Oklahoma State 3. No Cowboy squad in 118 years of football has given up that many points. In fact, they said 1 week later, Oklahoma became a state the last time they got that many points. That was just a horrific game, and I'm sure social media is going nuts right now.
Well, it's just a debilitating performance. Just really get you down if you're a Cowboy fan, because last week against Tennessee Martin, you didn't see much to get excited about. Win that game 27-7. But if you go back to finish the 24 season at Colorado, 52-0, Now 69-3, when you're playing people on your own level, you're non-competitive. And, things can change drastically in the portal world, and they changed drastically for the Cowboys a year ago. But you wanted to see the change for 25 to be going in a positive direction. We don't know. Is it going in a negative direction? Are they worse than even last year? It's just not a lot of reason to be excited about Oklahoma State football after all those years of, really 15 years of very sustained success, one of the 15 best, most successful programs in college football for 15 years, and now non-competitive. Now, Oregon's very good. Oregon can clean a lot of clocks, and they got on the wrong side of a spitting contest with Oregon coach Dan Lanning, so he didn't mind running it up a little. But Baylor's coming to Stillwater soon, and the Big 12 conference is going to start, and you just don't know what's out there. How can the Cowboys get better? There was not a lot to build on in Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, the Cowboys have lost 10 of the last 14 games, many by lopsided scores like the one on Saturday. And they said, what is Coach Gundy's message to the fans? His quote was, "My message to the fans is to stay with us. That's what we do. It's our alma mater. It's loyal and true," Gundy said.
Yeah, and there'll be a lot. Most of the fans will, but not all.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to sit and watch a road game, and when it gets when it's 13-0 after 90 seconds, and it's 41-3 at halftime, I think it was. I mean, you can turn it off, go out, rake leaves, or go to the park, walk your dog, do whatever you want to. But if that starts happening at home, you invest your whole day, and the game's over before the first quarter buzzer, you get a bad attitude, and you can't blame fans. They pay a lot of money for those tickets. They invest a lot of time, and to get non-competitive football is not part of the deal.
Come right back with Barry Tramel to talk about the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, the Arkansas Razorbacks. By the way, OSU has a much-needed open date before Tulsa comes to town the week after next. So talk about that with Barry when we come back and get his grades for this week number 2 of college football after this timeout.
The Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town, is the only place you can skate like the pros. With 2 rinks, there's always time to strap on the blades and hit the ice. The Wee Street Ice Center at 43rd and Yale is your family fun destination. Try out the game simulator rooms or hit the arcade. When you get hungry, grab a bite at Puck's Sports Bar and Grill with delicious food, great drink specials, and more. It's Midtown Tulsa's coolest entertainment center. Wee Street Ice Center, the coolest place in town. Come get your skate on.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
The Tulsa Whalers are fresh off another playoff season. Don't let the ice cool down. Get your season tickets now for next year and save big. Season tickets start as low as $19 per month. Get your tickets at TulsaWhalers.com. That's TulsaWhalers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets are available now starting at only $19 per month. TulsaWhalers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Whalers hockey.
And back with our second half with Barry Tramel, the Tulsa World's executive sports columnist, wrapping up the second week of college football for the Big 4 team. Starts going out of Tulsa, losing on the road again. They thought they could win and needed to win against New Mexico State, but they got derailed early with a concussion to their starting quarterback.
Yeah, that was one that got away. That's a game really would have been a nice start for the Trey Lamb era to go 2-0. Going into Stillwater, a program that's struggling. New Mexico State had an uprising a few years ago with Jerry Kill, but historically, the Aggies not a good football program, a place you ought to be able to go and win. and they just never the Golden Hurricane just never seemed to get out on track. Got behind, staged a rally, had a chance at the end, but lose 21-14. And Kirk Francis gets the concussion. Kept playing a little, through a bad pass, and they just had to sort of adjust there. But yeah, that's one that got away, and that's going to make it difficult for the Tulsas to make a bowl this year. That was 6-6 seemed possible after what we saw in the opener against Abilene Christian, but now at 1-1 because the American Conference schedule toughens up, and we saw some American teams rise up and say, "Hey, we can do some things." So Navy's coming to town this week. Midshipmen are difficult to beat. We saw Army, who's on the schedule later. They beat Kansas State. Of course, Memphis is good. Tulane's good. South Florida. I mean, it's still a fairly deep and competitive conference, and Tulsa's going to be hard pressed to get to those 6 wins when a 6-6 record, which is not really what anybody wants, but it still would have been a nice step for the Golden Hurricane. Losing in Las Cruces makes that more difficult.
Baylor Hayes came in, the backup quarterback. Pretty good stats here, 13 of 16, 129 yards. I got him the lead, but the defense just couldn't hold it. They just couldn't stop anything on third down in the second half.
Yeah, and this was a case of similar to last year. Kirk Francis, starts the year, ends up getting losing his job, comes back and gets it some, but a game like that will create uncertainty. Who's the quarterback? Can the defense get better? All those things. And listen, this is to be expected. I mean, Trey Lamb faced a difficult coaching situation. I mean, rampant roster changeover. I was at 60-something new players for the Golden Hurricane. So this is not completely out of the norm when you have to face a rebuild like this, but man, he had New Mexico State there in week 2 slot, and you think, hey, get off to a 2-0 start, and all of a sudden momentum builds, confidence soars, things can look a lot better. But you lose to New Mexico State, and it's it's a big time bummer.
This Saturday night they host the Navy. We know enough about them. They beat OU in the bowl game last year, and the Academy team is always tough and a real challenge for TU certainly on Saturday night.
Yeah, Brian Newberry, an Oklahoman, went to Westmore High School, is the head coach at Navy, doing a great job. Produced that 21-20 victory in the Armed Forces Bowl over the Sooners. Anytime a Navy can beat a Notre Dame or an Oklahoma, it does wonders for their program. These guys are not guys that are in need of great morale boost. I mean, the best and the brightest of America are at West Point and Annapolis. So these guys, they're the real deal. And that's one reason they're hard to beat in football, even though you might out-athlete them most Saturdays. So this will be a huge test. The Tulsa defense is going to have to play disciplined football against that option stuff that Navy runs so well. So this will be a very difficult assignment for the Golden Hurricane.
I don't know. We learned very much about Arkansas. They had basically a scrimmage in Little Rock against Arkansas State, rolling to a 56-14 win, 2-0. But now things get interesting as they have Ole Miss and Memphis coming up next.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to salute the Razorbacks, the administration, Sam Pittman, everybody involved. This is a game that ought to be played. Arkansas State. And this is the first meeting ever. I mean, Arkansas State's been playing football for years and years and years and have not been able to get the Razorbacks on the schedule. Finally, it worked out. There was some political influence involved, but that's okay. That's okay. If Arkansas is going to play a mid-major, if they're going to play, a North Texas, if they're going to play a Utah State, hey, play the guys from Jonesboro. They played this at War Memorial Stadium, the historic ballpark in Little Rock, where the Razorbacks historically played a bunch of games. Not so much anymore, but I thought it was a very good event. Things good for the state of Arkansas. The problem has always been, hey, we don't want to risk losing. We get nothing out of beating them. We get a lot out of it costs us a lot if we lose to them. It's a defeatist attitude. I'm glad Sam Pittman said, let's do it. And the Razorbacks handled Arkansas State pretty easy, 56-14. But I thought it was a good night for the state of Arkansas and a very good night for the Razorbacks. You know, they go 73-yard drive, first drive of the game. Washington goes 53 yards, second snap for a touchdown. And, you know, Arkansas is off to the races. So the Razorbacks shouldn't live in fear of playing Arkansas State. Let's do this again, guys.
Taylen Green, again, their quarterback, led the way at 151 yards rushing. He now has 10 touchdowns in his first 2 games. But they'll get to check themselves against the game at Ole Miss this weekend.
Yeah, big game. You know, Ole Miss didn't look great in playing the Kentucky at Lexington. Won by a touchdown. Kentucky is very historically a challenge for Ole Miss. So you can't read too much into that. But, you know, if this game was in Fayetteville, it would be close to a toss-up, I think. But it won't be easy for Arkansas going to Oxford. But Taylen Green is an exceptional quarterback. He's a playmaker. I think the Razorbacks have a chance. It'll be one of the SEC's jumping into a lot full-scale conference play, 3 or 4 conference games this week. Arkansas Ole Miss is a pretty good rivalry when you look at the Razorbacks' 33-year run in the SEC. So I think it'll be a fun game and a very telling game for Sam Pittman's team.
All right, Brad, let's wrap things up here with your grades for the Big 4 teams, starting with OU's victory over Michigan.
I think you have to give OU an A. That doesn't mean everything was great. Certainly the Sooners can play better on defense, cut down the big plays, play better on offense, finish off drives, quit doing some silly things on special teams that really were not good at all. But I thought it was for the first big game of John Mateer, first big game for Ben Arbuckle. They handled the Wolverines pretty well, and I think you have to give them an A. When you get to Oklahoma State, there's nothing to say. It's an F. You got to be more competitive than that. Mike Gundy, at the core of what he said, is close. You know, he's got some truth there. Oregon does have a bigger payroll. This is like, in some ways, it's playing baseball's Yankees. But guess what? People are competitive with the Yankees. Yeah. And I think it's not asking too much for Oklahoma State football to be at least competitive when you play Oregon. I think Tulsa, you got to give them a D. This is one they should have gotten. This is one they could have had. This one could come back to haunt them. And I give Arkansas a B. I don't really give out A's when I'm talking about playing an overmatched foe. Arkansas State of the Sun Belt is, clear lower level than an SEC squad. So A's really not possible. But handle business, dominated, and everybody had a good time. So I give the Hogs a B.
Barry Tramel, sports columnist, Tulsa World. Always appreciate your insight, Barry. Look forward to the visit every week, and talk to you next week. And thanks for joining us on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
You bet, Chris.
I will come right back with Cayden McFarland, KJRH2 Channel 2 sports director, with his insight right after this.
The Tulsa Whalers are fresh off another playoff season. Don't let the ice cool down. Get your season tickets now for next year and save big. Season tickets start as low as $19 per month. Get your tickets at TulsaWhalers.com. That's TulsaWhalers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets are available now starting at only $19 per month. TulsaWhalers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Whalers hockey.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family-owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
Pitch, Casey lines it down the left field line. Drillers win!
Baseball, fireworks, food, and family, it's all in Tulsa at One Oak Field. Score your Drillers season membership today with plans and prices fit for every fan. Whether you want to catch every game or select nights, we know you will have a great time at the ballpark. We're proud to offer a variety of membership options, so don't wait. Contact a Drillers rep who will personally help you find the right plan for you. It's all in Drillville for 2025. Baseball, fireworks, food, family. It's all in Tulsa at One Oak Field. Score your Drillers season membership today with plans and prices fit for every fan. It's all in Drillville for 2025.
And joining us from the Channel 2 studios here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, their sports director, Cayden McFarland. Cayden, a long way from Grants, New Mexico, my man.
Not that long. I've been here so long that, it just feels like home. I can barely remember when I grew up in little old Grants, New Mexico. But pleased to be covering college football here in Tulsa, the great state of Oklahoma, I think for the 18th year. So OU Michigan over the weekend, had a heck of a time with that, and grateful for every day I get to do this job. It's fun, as you know. We're in the toy department.
We are for sure. And I tell you, of course, Cayden, my longtime friend, Big Al Jerkins, for almost a decade there at Channel 2, right before taking over the sports director's job.
Yeah, honestly, one of the great honors of my life, getting to work with him and call him a friend. He is that guy. Some people can just sort of come out of the screen and grab you. You feel like you know him even if you've never met him. He was that guy that you want to go to a game and have a beer with. And I had the pleasure of sitting right next to him for, as you said, about a decade, and we've been friends for almost a decade now since then. I told this story here recently. Very first Big 12 media days I went to when I got here was up in Kansas City. And if you know Al, you know that if there is a sporting event anywhere within the vicinity, he's going to try and fit into the schedule. So we went to a Tigers-Royals game. Sit down. He's a legendary Yankees fan, right? Yeah. So I'm assuming that we are just there to watch a ball game and talk. He starts giving it to the ump about 3 seconds into the ball game. I was like, oh, hold on now. This guy's a little bit different. And he proceeded to give it to the ump for most of the 9 innings, because if you're with Big Al, you're not leaving in the 6th or 7th. No, he is a great friend, and it really was an honor getting to work with him and then try and fill his shoes. I said at the time, there's no filling his shoes. Kind of like Barry Hinson bringing out the size 21 Shaquille O'Neal after he was taking over for Bill Self at ORU. Right. That's how it's been for me at Channel 2, but it's been a real honor. It's been a lot of fun anyway.
Well, done a great job, sports writers, since 2017 there, and you had a kind of seismic weekend. So down the sidelines there at the OU Michigan game. What a night that was, and of course we'll also talk about the disaster in Eugene, Oregon. Let's start though with the Sooners, though, and that atmosphere looked just amazing in Norman Saturday night.
I was delighted about all of it. What a great helmet game, first of all. Yeah. Still seems completely impossible that combined 277 years of college football between Oklahoma and Michigan, all the victories, all the national championships, and only the second meeting ever between those two great programs, and the first in Norman. It was a spectacle. There's something, last year, Alabama, that was big, and obviously Tennessee would have been big if the Sooners had played a little bit better. But there's something about an early season game. You haven't taken a loss. The weather's great. People just bring a different energy and optimism to bear. And when you've got those two helmets clashing and the Sooners playing the way they did, dominating in the trenches, defensively for sure, and then holding up offensively against a fearsome Michigan front, there was a whole lot to like. I'm not here to declare that everything is fixed with regard to OU football, that they are absolutely a national championship contender based on what I saw, but you can imagine the path there without trying too hard. That Brent Venables defense, this quarterback in John Mateer, without question, that can be a winning recipe in any game they play this year.
And then on the other side, Oklahoma State's 69-3 loss at Oregon. Some perspective on that. The worst loss for Mike Gundy in 21 seasons. They played 8 quarters of FBS football. Going back to the Colorado finale last year, they've been outscored 121-3. They've lost the last 10 meetings with FBS opponents. Boy, things are bleak in Stillwater, and I know social media is going nuts about Mike Gundy's future.
Yeah. The matchup was all wrong. You know what comes to mind? First time I've had this thought, and in fact, I hesitate to even share it. The movie Rocky IV. I don't know if you're following me on this or not, Chris Lincoln, but Apollo Creed is a great champion, but past his prime, and he decides to take on Ivan Drago, who obviously steroids are part of that. And I'm not saying that that's what's going on at Oregon, but every advantage that can be brought to bear, they're using it. And, this aging champion is simply no match, and we know how that ends. That's sort of like what it was like watching Oklahoma State and Oregon. It was sad. It was the wrong matchup at the wrong time, not only because Oregon has a $40 million roster, to use Mike Gundy's verbiage. They are clearly at that level, upper crust, top tier. They got one of the best teams in college football, one of the best rosters. Oklahoma State's got more than 60 new players, 12 or 13 new coaches. They're simply not at that level, not ready to compete, certainly here in week 2 in September on the road when you give up 2 touchdowns in the first 2 minutes and it's Katie bar the door. There are still 10 games to go. So I don't want to start, do I think this will be Mike Gundy's last season coaching at Oklahoma State? I do. And I think that it will be more mutual than not. I think he is ready, but I think he does want to put in good work and hand this thing off a little bit better than where it is currently. He's got a couple of months to do that, several games. Could they win 5, 6, 7 games and we all feel much better about this thing 2.5 months from now? I think that's still possible, but there is no way to sugarcoat 69-3 at the end of the day. What Mike has done is unbelievable. The field will be named after him. He's going to have a statue there. He deserves all of it. He has done that job as well as anybody could do it for a couple of decades, but they are obviously down pretty bad at the moment.
And a buyout would be $15 million at this point here. Let's talk about the Golden Hurricane. Your home state didn't treat them very well Saturday. They really needed that win at New Mexico State.
Yeah. If you can't beat New Mexico State, you have a long way to go. There's just no way around that. Now, a couple years ago with Jerry Kill, they won 10 games. That was only the second 10-win season in New Mexico State history. This is a game Tulsa could have and should have won. Outgained New Mexico State, moved the ball up and down the field a little bit better. The defense had command of the game for the most part until it mattered the most, and New Mexico State was able to put together that final drive. I don't know where we are as we sit here now. Trey Lamb hasn't had his Monday press conference, so I don't know what the status of Kirk Francis is. Lamb said after the ball game he had suffered a concussion. He was pulled right after throwing an interception. I don't know when the concussion might have happened. I don't think it happened on that play. Baylor Hayes came in and played pretty well. I think he completed his first 13 passes. So he gives you a little something and can run around a little bit, had a nice 24-yard touchdown run. They're going to have to coach their butts off and play their butts off just to remain competitive in most games the rest of the way. That's just the program Trey Lamb inherited. He has said all the right things for many months. I still think he's going to be a really fine coach. But does that mean that this year's version of the Golden Hurricane is ready to go compete in the American Conference? I doubt it. And the conference opener, obviously, this week against maybe the best team in that league in Navy. And then you got to deal with Oklahoma State on a short week right after that. So it's a tough stretch. I really felt like they needed to get to 2-0 to feel like, they could make a bowl game. I'm not saying that that's out and over as we speak, but that was a loss they probably couldn't afford if they were going to have the kind of season that most TU fans were hoping for.
Cayden, I always enjoy your work on Channel 2 and also the Sports Animal with your friend Pat Jones. Doing a great job on that too, buddy. So have a great football season, and let's see if we can get these guys straightened around here with TU. Go TU this evening, this Saturday at 6 o'clock at Chapman against a good Navy team.
That's right.
Chris, watching on Channel 2, buddy. Thanks again.
Chris, always a pleasure. You are a legend around here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks again. We'll be right back with more right here on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Right to take this break.
Pitch. Casey lines it down the left field line. Drillers win.
Baseball, fireworks, food, and family, it's all in Tulsa at One Oak Field. Score your Drillers season membership today with plans and prices fit for every fan. Whether you want to catch every game or select nights, we know you will have a great time at the ballpark. We're proud to offer a variety of membership options, so don't wait. Contact a Drillers rep who will personally help you find the right plan for you. It's all in Drillville for 2025.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on site to assure the perfect fit so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's formal wear and fine clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
The Tulsa Whalers are fresh off another playoff season. Don't let the ice cool down. Get your season tickets now for next year and save big. Season tickets start as low as $19 per month. Get your tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets are available now starting at only $19 per month. TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
Welcome back to Sportscene. Well, I switched to high school football now. That means Michael Knight here from Redzone.com. And Michael, big full first week of action in high school. 140 games across the state of Oklahoma. 15 involved top 25 teams. Who are you watching? What do you think of the week?
Yeah, I went down to Southern Oklahoma. I talked about it a little bit last week, how Sulphur was taking on Washington. Washington had won 45 games in a row, and so I was fired up to football communities that really love their team, their school, and so I was fired up to see the atmosphere down there. It absolutely lived up to the hype, and we saw, a pretty massive outcome as Sulphur knocks off Washington. Washington losing on the football field for the first time since 2021 when they lost in the state championship game. They had won 45 consecutive games, and if they went undefeated again this year, they would have tied Bixby's record for 11-man football. And it's over. It's over. Sulphur wins 28-19, and the story of the game was without a doubt Maddox Mobley, Sulphur's senior standout. He's committed to Navy, and I'm just saying, as a red-blooded American, I'm glad that Maddox Mobley might be serving in the armed forces for our country, because he's a guy that you want in your foxhole. He had a fantastic performance, and I talked with their head coach, Corey Cole, a little bit earlier today, and he talked about how they designed the game around the way Maddox played. He was quiet in the first half, and turns out he's been nursing a little bit of an ankle injury, so they didn't want to put as much on his plate. And then in the second half, he flipped that switch, and specifically in the fourth quarter, he made massive plays on offense, massive plays on defense. He's the main reason why they were able to win that game. And look, it was only week one. For Sulphur, it's a heck of a season opener, getting a win over a Washington team like that. But they got Davis this week, which is a huge rivalry game down there. They go from facing the 2A1 defending champion to the 2A2 defending champion. So not an easy stretch at all for Sulphur out of the gate, but a heck of a win for the Bulldogs. And I talked about how excited last week I was to get down there and watch that game. And it's always fun when the games that you're pumped about live up to the hype, and that absolutely was the case down in Sulphur.
I tell you, I'm just amazed about Lincoln Christian Ball Club. Michael, I saw they defeated their rival Oklahoma City Heritage Hall on Friday, 35-6. That was, by the way, they're now 55 consecutive games. Their home venue, they're undefeated, and a winning streak of 30 games for the defending 3A champions. They're really special.
Yeah, speaking of winning streaks, they have the second longest active now in the state. Carl Albert has, I believe, 41 now. It's either 40 or 41, and then Lincoln Christian right behind them at 30. And, I talked about Sulphur, and I mentioned this to Coach Cole, and I knew what the answer would be. I'm like, how much do you look at what Lincoln Christian is doing? Because Lincoln and Sulphur played an instant classic in the state title game last year. Sulphur coming up inches short of a go-ahead 2-point conversion late in the fourth quarter. Lincoln and Sulphur are the teams to beat in Class 3A. Lincoln Christian looks better than they did last year, which is saying something considering how dominant they were from start to finish. Their sophomore running back, CJ Wright, had a heck of a game. This is a series between Lincoln and Heritage Hall where historically Lincoln has gotten off to slow starts. And I know that was a big point of emphasis last week for head coach Jerry Rickey and the rest of the Bulldogs was let's not get out to a slow start. Let's not play from behind. Let's put the pressure on Heritage Hall. And when you win 35-6, you sing quite the statement, and especially winning 35-6 over a team like Heritage Hall. That's quite the statement to the rest of Class 3A. Both Lincoln and Sulphur making huge statements that, look, they played for the state title last year. They're probably going to play for the state title again this year.
Well, this week, two coming up here, the big week, and everybody always talks about Jenks Union. I just can't imagine. I can't remember the last time we have this game where Jenks is 2-0 and Union is winless, 0-2, the game at Jenks this Friday.
Yeah, on paper, it looks like it might be a bit of a blowout with the way Union's kind of stumbled out of the gates. They struggled in week 0, and then really it was just a blowout last week as they lose to Stillwater. I believe it was like 41-15 or something like that, the final score there. Jenks obviously looks really good. I saw them in week 0. They looked great against Santa Fe. They got down in a hole against Owasso last week, and they were able to come back. Looked really good in the second half. Katie Jones, their star running back, had a fantastic performance, over 30 carries in the win there for the Trojans. On paper, it looks like it's going to be a blowout, but at the same time, it's Jenks and Union, and you've been covering high school football in Oklahoma longer than I have, and you know what happens when Jenks and Union meet on a football field. So, look, throw the records out, and that's one of the cliches that I hate the most when it comes to football. I'm like, no, sometimes the records are kind of important, but when it comes to Jenks and Union, you kind of do have to throw them out, because look at last season. They met in the playoffs. Jenks beat them by about 5 touchdowns, I believe. But earlier in the regular season, Union won 9-3. So who knows what's going to happen when these two teams meet? Jenks looks like the better team by a large margin at this point. But we could come out Friday and be like, Union won by a couple touchdowns. And I don't think anybody should be surprised by that, knowing the history of this rivalry.
And then one team in 6A won this year, last year, year before that. Bixby Spartans, I thought it'd be a closer game at Sand Springs. I know Standites are 6A2, Bixby 6A1, but 56-7. Spartans really beat the Sandites.
Yeah, it's the perfect example of why this is probably the best team that Lauren Montgomery has had. This is what they're going to do to just about everybody. I saw somebody say that they hate the phrase, they should have got them last year, but you really should have beaten Bixby last year. If you were going to beat Bixby, it was last year. They're back to Death Star mode where they can just destroy everybody in front of them. And last week was a perfect example where things snowball on teams. And I feel like this has been the story for the last 5 years or so. When teams are playing Bixby, it's close, and then, they go 3 and out or they turn the ball over. Bixby goes right down and scores. They get the ball back, but then they go 3 and out or turn the ball over, and Bixby scores again. And all of a sudden you go from, in real time, about 4 or 5 minutes from being tied to being down 2 or 3 touchdowns, let alone what the game time is. So this is just what happens when Bixby is performing at this level. And what's scary is they have some young players on offense and defense that are only going to get better as the season goes on. So this isn't even the most complete version of what the 2025 Spartans are going to be. I don't see anybody beating them this year. It's only September 8th as we record this, but still, they look like a team that's going to be unbeatable in 2025.
Michael Knight, Redzone.com. We'll come right back with NFL football. The season has kicked off. Noah Hitzges is going to talk Dallas Cowboys when we come back.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Our story. It lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Pitch, Casey lines it down the left field line. Drillers win!
Baseball, Fireworks, food, and family, it's all in Tulsa at One Oak Field. Score your Drillers season membership today with plans and prices fit for every fan. Whether you want to catch every game or select nights, we know you will have a great time at the ballpark. We're proud to offer a variety of membership options, so don't wait. Contact a Drillers rep who will personally help you find the right plan for you. It's all in Drillville for 2025.
Well, the National Football League season is in full swing now, and we're joined by our good friend Norm Hitzges down in Dallas. Been there for almost half a century. My gosh, a Radio Hall of Famer. There you're so associated with, of course, the Dallas Cowboys. Talk about your years with the Cowboys. How long have you been covering the big star?
Well, Chris, my first time to Cowboy training camp was 1972, which puts us back a little while. Puts us back 53 years. 53? Yeah, 53 years. You start to add them up and they become big figures these days.
Yeah.
But this is a team which has always been a fun team to watch and to ride. There are such distinctive eras in this team. It was my grand pleasure to know Tom Landry for nearly 20 years, and for then several years after his coaching stint ended. And then the mercurial Jimmy Johnson, who was the ultimate good cop, bad cop when he coached the Cowboys. And then Barry Switzer, I will leave you to describe Barry Switzer. But Barry's cut from different cloth.
Yes.
And then this string of, the Cowboys, other than the Dave Campo era, when they went 5-11, 5-11, 5-11, hey, that's consistency, Chris. Other than that, they haven't been hideous. They've been in a 7-win team, an 8, a 9, a 10, a 12, but they've never even gotten to an NFC championship game in 30 years now. And it is frustrating the daylights out of Jerry Jones because he knows his body clock is ticking.
Yeah.
He'll turn 83 this fall. Jerry knows, or at least he asks, how many years do I have left? How many years before I can get my Super Bowl? Because the two with Jimmy are viewed as Jimmy's.
Yeah.
And the one with Barry are viewed as, well, those Jimmy leftovers were sure good. But it's an odd franchise, I'll say that. It's been, I think, Chris, probably the most unusual ride in the NFL for over 50 years. Of course, I had them as a 7 or 8 win team this year. I think I'm going to keep them around 8. Their schedule's brutal. And Chris, it could be even lower than that if injuries hit certain positions, because they're still very shallow at certain positions.
Well, nobody has the inside like Norm, and believe me, I also enjoy your podcast, Just Wondering, right?
Thanks, buddy. Just Wondering. Yep, 3 times.
Right.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
All right, all the best, my friend, and we'll be right back with more right here on Oklahoma Sports Scene. We'll take this time out.
Thoroughbred season at Remington Park is underway with great winning action Thursday through Saturday at 6 p.m. Make plans now for Oklahoma Derby Day, Sunday, September 28th. The lone Sunday afternoon of the season begins at 3 p.m. with the richest race of the season, the Grade 3 $400,000 Oklahoma Derby, as the headliner. Visit RemingtonPark.com for all post times, group rates, and dining reservations. The best racing, simulcast racing, and nonstop jackpot casino action is at Remington Park.
Our story, it lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Baseball, fireworks, food, family. It's all in Tulsa at One Oak Field. Score your Drillers season membership today with plans and prices fit for every fan. It's all in Drillville for 2025.
A jockey boycott at Remington Park for some strange racing scenarios on Thursday, September 4th and Friday, September 5th. The dispute involved the Jockeys Guild and the Horsemen's Rep, Thoroughbred Racing Association of Oklahoma, as they disagreed on the new standard for losing mount fee. Fortunately, a new agreement has taken place, but it didn't come fast enough to avoid some strange and historic racing scenarios. When the field of 8 in the third race on Thursday, September 4th had 7 scratches, only one horse remained, Hard Gold. In order for the gelding and his connections to get their winning share of the purse money, they had to go through a rare racing procedure called a walkover and go through the race all alone. And Hard Gold is off, and the first and possibly biggest hurdle in a walkover has been cleared, getting out of the gate and on into a run and stride without any issues. Many people scrambling for the record books and history books when this walkover became a reality today. We have a spectacular bids famous walkover, the 1980 Woodward Stakes at Belmont Park on September 20th, almost exactly 45 years ago. That had people talking a bit this afternoon. Hard Gold, not spectacular bid, just the last one standing in this third event of the night. And now in the stretch, Hard Gold galloping leisurely home in the final 8th. Hunter Morales will pick up his second victory of the night. Here's Hard Gold, completing the first walkover in Remington Park history. And at the finish, Hard Gold, congratulations. Hard Gold earned the winner's share of the $5,000 level claiming event, $7,500, by completing the walkover with Adrian Morales up, making history as the first walkover, and hopefully the last, at Remington Park. Jockey Jose Medina scored a riding triple during the short field racing on September 4th, securing the hat trick by winning a match race over the turf in the finale. Somebody's going to get a riding triple. Whoever wins this race, the two jockeys both have 2, quarter mile to go. Gospel Mark and Medina up front, saving a little bit, has something left, now opens back up by a little more than 3. Bernardo has one more shot here as they straighten away. Furlong to go. Gospel Mark at the rail, still there. Bernardo creeping up. Final 16th approaching. Gospel Mark is all out. Bernardo as well. Final yards now. Gospel Mark looking for a line. Bernardo one more push. And the finish will get there in time for Gospel Mark to win it by a length and a half. A former regular jockey at Remington Park, Medina once won a springboard mile here in 2011 on Ted's Folly. Remington Park racing continues with the regular jockeys Thursday through Saturday, September 11th through the 13th. First racing nightly, 6 p.m. Central. The Thorough Enduro online contest begins on Thursday, September 11th. You can register to play the game for free at remingtonpark.com. Just click on the Thorough Enduro Gold button at the top of any page to play the game. Oklahoma Derby Day is fast approaching on the only Sunday of the season, September 28th. First race for the Oklahoma Derby Day and all the festivities is 3 p.m. In Oklahoma City at Remington Park, I'm Dale Day. Now back to Sportscene.
Next week on Oklahoma Sportscene, you won't want to miss this. Chad Weiberg, athletic director at Oklahoma State University, talks about his health issues, battling with open heart surgery. And of course, the Cowboys breaking everybody's heart. Have an in-depth look at what's going on at Oklahoma State with their football program. And Michael Knight, back to review the top high school football games, including the big battle between Union and Jenks. All that next week here on Oklahoma Sportscene. Until then, as I always remind you, be a good sport.